Okay, here's the mixing brush that I'm going to be using. Again, it's something I probably bought at Sally's Beauty Supply. And I'm going to, with the developer, I'm going to put in the same amount in my little measuring cup as I did in the bowl. Equal parts. So did I even get, no, a little bit more. And just mix that up thoroughly. It almost looks like cake icing when you mix it up. Let me get it mixed up and I'll show you. It's a cream color. Instead of like, here's an application bottle that you use the regular color in, the kind that comes in the bottle as opposed to the tube. But this is a thicker formula when you use the cream formula. And I like the cream formula better because I can apply it with a brush as opposed to squeezing it out of a bottle. And I like being able to place it where I want to place it easier. You can do it with a bottle. I mean, it's fine. It's just something I learned, you know, as a professional. It's something I enjoy doing. So this is the way I do it. So we're going to load up the brush. And we're going to put on one side. Okay, and we're going to put the color from the root to the regrowth. I do it on the opposite side because I want it to lay down to get it out of the way. And you'll see me looking off camera because I have to look into the mirror in order to see better. I've got a magnified mirror here so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better. Because girlfriend is 54 years old. Yep, on the 9th of August, I'll be 54. And I can't see for crap, you guys. It's awful. And it gets worse every year. The prescription changes every single year. I am diabetic, so you're going to probably hear me talk about health stuff on the channel because I've got multiple chronic issues. Lucky me. So if you hear about it, I don't, you know, a lot of people say to me, oh my gosh, you've got so many problems. Well, I don't do it on purpose, people. Okay? Being autoimmune is not something I chose, for sure. So but if you hear me talk about, all right, now let me tell you what I'm doing here. I'm separating a little piece, a little section, about 1/4 of an inch. It's not that much. At the back of where this sectioned out area is, okay? I take a little slice at a diagonal here. I don't do it from the front. I do it from the back of the section, okay? Take a little slice, quarter of an inch slice. And I'm going to go and I put the color on the brush and I put it on the scalp part. And then I take the opposite side of the brush and brush that through because that already had color on it from the previous where I first laid it down, okay? And then you're going to go back through and take another parting. Let me look in the mirror because I can't see. Take another parting. Another small section. 1/4 inch. Load that brush up. Put that color down on that regrowth. Okay, and then I go back through with the opposite side because the color's kind of squished through the brush. That's the color I put it. I put the color on that side, but it squished through on the brush. So then I go back through on that opposite side that had color on the. Okay, see if I can explain this. It had color here because I already laid it down. So then I pick it up and put it over, and I just kind of brush that through with the color that had squeezed out in the brush. I just brush that through on the hair. And it blends it in to the section so that it's covered on both the top of that section and the bottom of that section. Because if you don't do it that way, you're gonna get spotty coverage. And it's gonna look ridiculous. Okay, so here we go. Picked up another section here, slice, and I'm covering that regrowth on the scalp part. And then I go back through with the brush and I blend in what I had already done on the opposite side of that slice. Okay? Going back and taking another parting. And they're thin partings, as you can tell. They're really thin partings. They're only 1/4 inch. If you get too thick of partings, you're not going to get coverage with your color. It's just not going to cover. So go back in and do that regrowth, and then go back in with the opposite side of the brush. Brush it through to make sure it's blended. And it's just the same process all the way through. Taking those small partings. Again, I don't want the partings to be too thick because it's not going to saturate. I'm not going to get the color saturation that I need, and I'm going to end up with spots, and I don't want to look like I've got polka dotted hair. That's not the plan. I like to have my hair colored because when the color grows out, it's not all gray, which gray hair is beautiful. A lot of people that have gray hair is beautiful. I've got streaks of it that kind of looks like a skunk stripe here in the front on this side. And I just don't like the way it looks. And I like my hair being a little bit lighter color. When I was a kid, I had white hair. Of course, the older you get, the more pigment you get and the darker it gets. So when you're a professional and you're looking at somebody's color, what their natural level is, you have color swatches, and you take the color swatch and match it up to the root of your hair. You lift it up a little bit. It's a thing. But anyway, you don't need to know all that. But that's how you find your natural color. So you know how many levels you're trying to lift. And my natural color is a 7, but it's so ashy. So I'm going to a 10. So I could use 30 volume peroxide, but because I'm so ashy, I go on and use the 40 volume, the higher peroxide, to lift 4 levels to get some of that ashiness out. I still want to have a cool tone. And I always pull really warm. Really, you do anyway. When you're lightening hair, you always go in levels, and it always pulls to a golden tone first and then on up to yellow. And then you've got your, like this is, like I said, this is called a 10A. So that means I want to have an extra light blonde that has an ashy tone, but not as dark and ashy and mousy as my natural color. Because that natural color is mousy. I agree. I admit it. And I'm wearing an old shirt that I cut the collar out of, and it's a UK Wildcat shirt, University of Kentucky, because, you know, that's our team here. And they have an amazing basketball team here that's won multiple national championships. Very proud of our team. I've been married a couple times. My first husband played at University of Kentucky. Way, way, way back in the day. Most people don't know that, but he did. And so now we're going to start on the second one and do the same thing. So I was telling you that about, you know, that I do have chronic illnesses, and this is a part lifestyle channel, part beauty channel. So I hope that people are understanding when you have a hidden disability, meaning I've got something internal and it's not seen on the outside. There are people out there that don't get it, and they think if you're not in a wheelchair, then you're not really disabled. And that's just, you know, I don't mean to say it in a rude way, but when I say somebody's ignorant, that means they're uneducated on a particular thing. Doesn't mean they're stupid, they're just uneducated on a particular thing. I had a man one time. I was parking in the handicapped spot. I was in a lot of pain. I could barely move, and I was going in to get prescriptions. And I was parking in the spot, and this man looks at me, and he says, "You do realize you're parked in the handicapped spot, don't you?" And he was really rude, you guys. And I'm like, "Yes, sir, I do." And he said, well, you don't have a handicap placard in your car. And I said, that's because I have a license plate on the back of my car. I don't have to have a placard. And he said, well, you don't look handicapped to me. And I'm like, okay, well, looks can be deceiving. And I didn't know what else to say to him other than, you know, I'm sorry that you're ignorant on the subject. But you may hear me mention things a time or two on the channel that I have problems. I try very hard not to let those things, the challenges that I have, stop me. I have let them stop me in the past. And I need to move on from that. And I have been moving on from that. I've been working very hard at some different things. And it's hard, really hard some days just to get out of bed. And some days I can't get out of bed at all. And I'm just stuck laying there in pain all day. A lot of times people think, well, you can just take a pill and feel better and just move on. You need to walk more. You need to exercise more. You need to do this. You need to do that. Well, yeah. All those things are true if the pain didn't get worse. And I've tried exercise therapy. I've had a physical trainer. I've tried physical therapy. I've tried all these different things. And I end up worse every time and paying for it for days because I exercised and my body is just telling me you can't do that. Not to say all exercise is bad. Exercise is great and we should all get exercise every day. We should. And every time I push myself to do anything, I pay for it. But I have to get some exercise. Your heart has to have it. Cardiovascular, you know, I got a heart condition. And you need to get exercise in your life. But when it causes you so much pain, then you have to get up and try to force yourself to get up and do it again because you can. And it's hard. It's harder than it is for other people. It's a challenge because it hurts so bad sometimes. Even just going for a walk. I mean, even just walking to the kitchen sometimes is so hard. But I just keep saying I'm plugging it. I'm plugging away. I'm not going to let it dictate my life. I've got a little dark spot here where the color last time didn't get put on. So I'm going to kind of go in there and lighten that up a little bit. And I am going to pull this color through. Okay, like I said, I have a lot of color. I mean, a lot of hair. So it takes me a good while to get all this color on my head. And it's a challenge to sit because one of the things that I deal with is a very severe bladder disease. I don't have overactive bladder. I don't have incontinence and all that stuff. I've got an actual disease that the inside of my bladder is deteriorating. And there's a layer in there that protects you from... Okay, I know y'all probably don't want to hear this. But anyway, protects you from the urine that touches your bladder. You know what the function of a bladder is. And so I've got these ulcers and herniations and scarring and stricturing. And get off my hair. Come on now. Oh my gosh, it's completely stuck in there, you guys. You gotta be kidding me. I've never had this happen before. In all these years. And now I'm trying to do a video and it's doing it. There we go. Butthead. Okay. What was I saying? Does anybody remember? I need help. Can't even remember what I was telling you. Okay, so anyway, that's what it was. The lining of the bladder's deteriorated. It's diseased. And so it's not protected from the urine. And the urine is very acidic. And so when the urine hits the inside layer of the bladder, it's just like pouring alcohol on an open wound. And it's like that all day, every day, 24/7, 365. It's not fun. So, with all that said, it hurts to sit. It hurts to sit for long periods of time. I'm going to mix up some more color because I do it in steps because I use so much, because I have so much hair. So I'm going to do it in steps. I didn't measure that time because I've done this long enough. I know exactly how much I need to put in. I can tell. As most hairstylists, after they've been doing it for a long time, they know. Do you do your hair at home? Do you ever do color at home? Or do you go to the salon?